In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Hello, I'm with Radona Devereau, or Grossman-Devereau, and tonight we're going to give an update on what's happening in Washington State with I-1639. A lot has happened since the election, and Radona can give us an update and kind of fill us in. So, Radona, why don't you start off with telling us about how the state is rolling out I-1639 and when it actually goes into effect.
Well, the age part of it, raising the age for what they call assault rifles, what everybody calls is a rifle, is going into effect January 1st. The rest of I-1639 doesn't take effect until July 9th. As of right now, the state is really pushing 1639, and what they've done now, I was looking on the legislature website, there's a couple of bills that actually repeat the content of 1639 that have been proposed and filed under the early file by our state legislators. There's only a couple of them, but they actually repeat the content of 1639 in a couple of different bills. So they're trying to circumvent the lawsuit right now about it being unconstitutional. They've already started working on that, and they're trying to get it filed into this legislative session. So they're already pushing it again.
Okay. First question I have on that is, how is an assault weapon defined in this legislation?
So under 1639, a semi-automatic assault rifle is defined as any rifle which utilizes a portion of the energy of a firing cartridge to extract the fired cartridge case and chamber the next round, and which requires a separate pull of the trigger to fire each cartridge. Semi-automatic assault rifle does not include antique firearms, any firearm that has been made permanently inoperable, or any firearm that is manually operated by bolt, pump, lever, or slide action.
Okay. So that's semi-automatic. Then do they expand on that for an assault rifle, or are all semi-automatic?
That is semi-automatic assault rifle.
Okay.
That is what they're defining as an assault rifle.
Okay, so they're defining all semi-automatic rifles as assault rifles then.
Unless it's a bolt, lever, slide, or pump action.
Okay. Okay. So, so it sounds like they're really pushing hard on getting this rolled out in pretty quick order so that they can go ahead and get the damage done.
Yep.
Okay. What organizations have kind of organized to oppose this legislation so far?
Do you mean as far as in the courts with the lawsuit, or are you talking about grassroots also?
I'm talking about grassroots and court level, both.
All right. So the lawsuit is being pursued by the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. The grassroots groups, go ahead. There's so many of them. We have the Liberty First Foundation. We have Washington. Then we have the Washington Gun Owners, the Gun Coalition. There's my page, Silent No More, Repeal 1639. There's, Greg Pruitt, he's an activist out of Idaho. He's actually stepped into Washington, and expanded his organization into Washington just for this purpose. And then there's a whole bunch of just individuals. One individual actually filed an initiative to directly repeal 1639, but didn't end up following it all the way through. She wanted to wait, and so she never filed the full text of it or anything like that. But then there's other individuals who have actually filed initiatives to the people to attack individual parts of this Initiative 1639.
Okay.
There's protests. Patriot Prayer, they in Skamania County, they just held a seminar about how to effectively go into your county council and propose legislation for the county to protect them and make them a Second Amendment. Sanctuary. Yes, sorry. Struggling with words right now.
No worries.
So we have opposition to this at all levels. Multiple law enforcement agencies have taken a stand against it. There's multiple county sheriff's departments, and I can go into more of that in a second. There's a few chiefs of police. They're flat out refusing to enforce it. It's just saying, no, we're not going to do that. Nope. So you go from the level of the citizens, the constituents, the voters, all the way up, and then we have actual state representatives who have been extremely outspoken against 1639 and are actually taking action and helping to organize the citizens at the grassroots level. There's a pretty huge unification across multiple levels of the hierarchy, for lack of a better word.
Right.
It's pretty impressive to me.
Right. Well, yeah, it is. One thing that I found interesting in researching 1639 and kind of reviewing the midterm votes, is in the state of Washington, you guys had a 53% voter turnout of all eligible voters.
Yep.
And then 1639 passed with 60% of those 53%. So effectively what ended up happening is, because there was such a low voter turnout, i.e. 53%, 28% of Washington state decided that the entirety of the state must follow this new initiative.
Yes.
So 28% of your citizens made this decision for 100% of the people.
Yes,
and
they did.
I just find that unconscionable, for lack of a better word. Why are 28% of a population able to determine what everybody else is forced to do? Okay. One reason is because of the low voter turnout. That's one of the things that we have to get up. In every election from this point forward, we have to get those numbers up. Number two, we've got to get people back interested and back involved in the political processes. I know you guys are working very, very hard at doing that. You are drafting an initiative to counter this as well, are you not?
I am.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that?
What's going on with that is I have a very rough draft of it written, and I reached out to a representative asking if he'd be willing to look it over. And I re-looked it over myself. I looked at the handbook. All of the tools for drafting initiatives are right there on the state website.
Right.
I looked at it, and then I reviewed some of the rules. Like, initiatives can only have one subject matter.
Okay.
So after reading that and reviewing the rules and reviewing what I have in it, it's just a very short little thing, but it covers penalties, and it covers amending certain areas and repealing. You can combine all of those, but if the, from my understanding, is if the area that you're repealing is in a different section, it's considered different subject matter.
Okay.
So I have to go to, in order to write it out properly and not get it completely thrown out, I have to go through the entire RCW on firearms.
Right.
So I'm kind of going back to the beginning. I still know what I want to repeal and what I want to take out and what I want to amend and add. I just have to go back through and resection it all and put it into individual initiatives.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like you are making some progress on that, but it also sounds like you had a little bit of a setback with what they require you to do. And it sounds like it's going to take multiple initiatives to undo the damage that's already been done.
It is.
Okay.
It's going to take multiple initiatives, multiple petitions. Realistically, the signatures on petitions, the number is 259,622 signatures.
Right.
Realistically, you break that down, 11 counties voted in favor of 1639. Like you said, 28% of the people decided for the rest of us. If we can get enough support behind the repealment of it, we can get those signatures in 3 or 4 counties.
Okay.
So that's the plan for that. The filing it, my goal for it is to be filed by January 5th or 6th. And at that point, we can print off the petitions and start gathering signatures, and we'll have all the way until July to get those signatures.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with that part of it.
Okay. Are you also drafting initiatives to prevent something like this from happening in the future?
I personally am not. However, there are several members of our group that have expressed the interest in doing that. I'm going to let them take that part of it. There's also, like I said, some of our representatives have already pre-filed bill proposals to counter some of this, little sections of 1639 that once they take effect, provided they pass through, once they take effect, it would essentially repeal those sections of 1639. So there's a lot of teamwork on it. A lot of different people are working on it in a lot of different ways. The tools are all right there for the public.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's see. You confronted one of the backers of 1639 when they were introducing this after the midterm elections. Can you kind of go over what happened during that?
Bob Ferguson, our state's attorney general. I wouldn't call it a confrontation. I just asked him a question.
Right.
A question that could very easily be interpreted as confrontational. But he was doing a presentation at Eastern Washington University, and I haven't been able to find coverage or announcements of that presentation anywhere. Mm-hmm. Nowhere. Not on his page, not on Facebook, not on the news, nowhere. The Attorney General goes to a small, tiny little college town you would think there would be some coverage of it, but there's
Right.
nothing. Not even on the university students video station. It's not even there. But I asked him a question. I asked him to please explain the evolution of Senate Bill 5444, where there is no mention of the state being an authorized entity to approve or deny firearm applications and CPLs. Where did the state addition come from? What purpose does this serve? And who exactly does this state refer to in 1639? That was my question.
Okay.
First, he denied knowing what 5444 was. It was Senate Bill 5444. He introduced it.
Right.
You know, he introduced it. He proposed it. He didn't know what it was. Claimed not to know what it was. He ended up asking me to what was I asking? He didn't know which bill I was referring to. And I says, it was a bill that you yourself endorsed. You proposed it. And he says, well, my office sees a lot of bills. And so I'm sitting here, you think, how can this guy sit here and propose legislation and then 9 months later not know what that legislation is?
Right.
Okay. So I repeated the question. And so he says, so are you asking about 1639? And I said, no, I'm asking about the reference to the state in 1639. I'm asking, where did that come from? How did we go from 5444, where the state has no authority to approve or deny firearms, to 1639, where the state has all authority to approve and deny firearms, CPLs, and issue revocation orders?
Mm-hmm.
He never could give me an answer. He started to talk about 1639 and about the whole, well, it increases the age for semi-automatic assault rifles. Yeah, okay, everybody already knows that's what it was touted as. But
Right.
When I said, sir, that's not what I'm asking about, he says, all right, well, can you say it one more time? And I said, where did the reference to the state as an authority to approve or deny firearm applications come from? And he says, I'm not sure what reference to the state you're talking about. I'm not aware of any reference to the state in 1639. And I says, I can show you. And he says, yes, I would love that. Please email it to me. And I say, well, actually, if you have some time after your presentation, I have the initiative with me. I can show it to you. He agreed. And what ended up happening after his presentation is he brushed me off and introduced me to his law enforcement liaison. And his law enforcement liaison gave me his business card and said, call him anytime, day or night, and they would get a team right on any questions that I have.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, you have videos of that, correct?
I do. The sound quality is quite poor. They were having sound issues in the room, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I have videos of that. I have video of his presentation, which essentially consisted of teaching college students how to sue the president and then bragging about his accomplishments. So, yes, I have videos of that and of the question and his response to the question.
Okay. Okay, and just as soon as we're able to, we will get those videos up on the Liberty First website, which is at l1f.us. And you guys are currently in the process of developing a website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I know I'm going to be helping you do that, and we will get working on that this week, and we will provide another update as to what the progress is on your end okay, with these grassroots coalitions and other agencies that are working to repeal 1639. And we will, at that time, announce your website as being up and operational when we do that next update. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like the people to know? And what can we do to help support you guys in this fight?
Help support us. Just stand up against it. You know, there's many ways to stand up. You can protest, you can rally, you can educate yourselves. Go on and read about how to write initiatives. Go on and read about those things. Share the pages of the grassroots groups. Don't be afraid in your own state to take a stand. You know, there are so many of us. There are so many of us that they would not be able to enforce anything against us if we all stood up and protested and said, no, we're not going to deal with gun control. It's unconstitutional. It's our job to uphold the Constitution as citizens. That's why the Second Amendment was put there. Law enforcement is already against gun control. They're already against 1639 adamantly. They aren't going to turn on us.
Right.
The military, the members of the military took an oath. They aren't going to turn on the people either because that's their families. Right. You know, they're not going to turn on us. So where does that leave? Where does that leave the government? They don't have enough prisons to hold all of us.
Right.
If enough of us stand across the whole country, not just Washington State, but the whole country, if enough of us stand up and say no, and we go in and we flood our state legislatures with initiatives and with referenda and with petitions, we go in even to the U.S. Congress. We start flooding them with the emails and the phone calls and call them and we say no, no, no. We flood them with initiatives. I don't know if you can do an initiative with for the federal government, but you know, those sorts of steps, they won't be able to stop us. There's so many of us across the whole country. They won't be able to stop us.
No,
it would have to be worse.
We can't do initiatives, but we can get our representatives and our senators to start hearings on this type of legislation, okay, and these types of bills and so forth. And if we start getting our representatives, start getting our senators to do that and start having these hearings where they are brought in front of the people and where the media has to be subjected to the truth and actually has to cover the truth about what's going on with these initiatives, we can get our voices heard. Other things that we can do is go to our local governments, go to our town council meetings, go to our county commission meetings, county board of supervisors. Go and talk to your sheriff, okay? Your sheriff is an elected representative of the people, okay? He is the only elected law enforcement official in the nation, okay? So go to them and talk to them and let them know, hey, we oppose this, okay? Get these people on your side. It's not hard to do, but you have to take a stand and you have to get your voice out there in front of the people. You have to take action. You can't wait for somebody like Radona here. You can't wait for the Liberty First Foundation to do something. You have to, as an individual, start taking action. You work with organizations like Liberty First Foundation, Second Amendment Association, and the NRA to organize our efforts so we are all taking action in the same direction and not pulling against each other. But you have to get out there and take action. a handful of people is not going to do any good. But if we get all of us taking action, we will make a difference.
That's how they did it way back when.
Exactly. I was just having that discussion earlier, as a matter of fact. Is there anything else that you would like to say? I'm going to give you the last word here.
Anything else I would like to say? Not off the top of my head that I can think of, no.
Okay.
Just want to encourage people, just like you did, take action. Take whatever action through the legal process that you feel like you are capable of.
Okay. Couldn't have said it better myself. Please let them know what your Facebook page is again, or your Facebook group.
It's #SilentNoMore Repeal 1639.
Okay. We will add that as a link into the show notes on this video, on this interview, and any other information that you would like to add.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers.